Hello, a very good afternoon and welcome to the We Are Careers show. Now, it's National Careers Week 2023 and this year's theme is Together. So what better time we thought to bring on the architects of the So Much More Than Talking About Jobs campaign to talk about how the campaign originated, the kind of impact it's had so far on the careers sector and what things might look like moving forward. Very, very topical debate, hopefully, we're going to be having today. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. This is the We Are Careers show. This is your fortnightly snippet of CPD for all of those professionals working in the careers sector and elsewhere. My name is Chris Webb. I'm a higher education careers professional and member of the CDI. And I'm very grateful today on International Women's Day to be joined by three fantastic women, including my co-host, Sabiha. So, Sabiha, how are we doing today? Having a good middle of the week?
I am. Thank you so much for that warm welcome, Chris, and welcome also to our viewers who are watching us live right now, or perhaps you're going to be joining us on the replay. However you're watching us, welcome. We also love hearing your feedback, so please do join in the conversation. Use that comments box, whichever platform that you're watching us on, and let us know. And if you've got questions for our two amazing guests, and in fact, I want you already, for those of you that are watching live right now, to come and say welcome to our two guests, because they're both, even though the names may be familiar to you, they've never done anything live before. So let's show them some love. In that chat box and say hello. And if you've got any questions for Bella or Catherine, let us know in the chat box, because as Chris mentioned, we are going to be talking about togetherness and what that means as career professionals. Now, for those of you that don't know me, I'm known as Meet Sabiha, and I work internationally helping professionals get unstuck and get back into career flow without the stress. And I'm also the creator of the I Am Thriving Career Coaching Program, where I work with international coaches and show them how to help their clients create even more powerful transformation without wasting resources on time and tools that don't work. Now, before we get to our two core guests, and by the way, if you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. It's always good for us to have that feedback and know which of the shows you're enjoying and you're getting most impactful, so that we can create content that is powerful and engaging and beneficial for you, the viewers. And before we get to our guests, though, I want to hand over to Chris, because we're going to do the careers cheers. So Chris, who are we cheering on this week?
Yes, thanks, Sabiha. So, there'll probably be no surprises as to, in this week of all weeks, who we might be kind of giving some careers cheers to in terms of professionals kind of across the sector. Our first one, though, again, is just a reminder, and this is kind of linking quite nicely to what we're going to be talking about on the show today, just to kind of continually keep sharing those stories on social media via the Careers Impact hashtag. Think about the work that you've been doing, the difference you've made to the clients, organizations, stakeholders you've been working with, and share that via social media, whether yours is kind of LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram, and make sure that you're kind of copying the Career Development Institute into those messages, so that we can kind of build up a lovely database of fantastic stories of careersy goodness, and as I say, kind of anecdotes, I guess, of how we're making an impact in our profession. So do keep sharing that. And once again, that hashtag is Careers Impact. We are, of course, going to be talking about another hashtag today, but we'll come on to that. So we won't spoil that too early. Our second careers cheers, pretty obvious one. It simply has to be that shout out to National Careers Week. As kind of an entity in itself. So it's been going 13 years now, still kind of garnering national, international attention. So if you've not followed the NCW 2023 hashtag, it's been trending as high as number 3, I think, in the Twitter charts this week. So really impressive to see how far and wide that's kind of been getting shared. And of course, any attention that's getting is giving us the opportunity as careers professionals to kind of jump on that message and promote what we do. So that's fantastic. And then finally, just a massive shout out really to the people that make National Careers Week happen, not just the individuals at National Careers Week themselves, of course, but the whole careers community. I've seen some brilliant things happening on social media already this week, events, activities. Some of our previous guests from the show, like Eric, are doing some fantastic stuff this week. We've got people like our future guest, Deirdre Hughes, offering the CC chatbot for free during National Careers Week. So all sorts of brilliant things going on. Follow the hashtag. Check out what's happening and celebrate with us. Celebrate National Careers Week for what it is. So those are our careers cheers for the week.
Oh, thank you, Chris. And oh my God, there's some three really great career cheers there. And by the way, if you're watching, whether that's live or you're watching on the replay, let us know. What have you been doing? Have you been involved in any of these campaigns and National Careers Week? If so, how? What does that look like for you as a careers professional? Now, Chris alluded a little bit that we're going to be talking about another popular hashtag. If you've been on social media, then you will have seen this. It was the hashtag so much more than talking about jobs. And that's what we're going to be exploring today with our guest today. Now, Belle, I'm going to come to you first, but before I do, audience, viewers, were you involved with this campaign? If so, how, and what impact, what transformation has that created as a result of being involved in this campaign, whether it's National Careers Week or it's the hashtag so much more than talking about jobs? And so I want to come to you first, Bella. Can you tell me a little bit more about your background and why you sort of kind of started this campaign?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everybody. Lovely to be here. Thank you very much, both Sabiha and Chris, for inviting us along today. I have been working as a career development professional for the last 16 years across 3 countries, in the UAE, in Canada, and of course in the UK. And I'm absolutely passionate about our field and what I know we can do and what we can offer to the general public. And so I've worked in a number of different settings. I've worked in universities, I've worked in publicly funded services, HR consultancy, and now I work in corporate, helping senior management and executives with their career transition. And I work exclusively with Canadian clients, so I have no connection with British clients at all. However, as you can tell, I'm a true grit Brit. And one thing that happened for me when I moved back to the UK is I had a 14-year gap of career development experience and career development professional work. And one thing I really wanted to do when I got back was reconnect with that. And so, as most of you know by now, I have absolutely no fear of connecting and being a bit noisy. And one of the things I noticed was there were a few job postings that were requiring no career development qualifications at all. Now, I've worked as a career development professional with, some career development theory training. And it wasn't until April 2021 when I decided to do my master's program at the University of Warwick that I thought, you know what, I'm really enjoying formalizing what I know. And I've got ultimate respect for anybody who decides to take a career development qualification, whatever qualification that is, because I do believe that if we're in the business of giving careers advice and guidance, we need to be qualified. It helps with our credibility, it helps us with our professional identity, and it helps us to explain who we are and what we do, both to ourselves and the general public. So one night I saw a job posting with a well-known leading university that required no career development professional qualifications at all. And I that was it. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. And very quickly there was a post by one of our well-esteemed colleagues, Leanne, and that started this really big debate on LinkedIn. Who are we? What do we do? If we're in the business of giving careers advice and guidance, we need to be qualified, and also employers need to recognize that our qualifications mean a lot. They speak a lot in our field. And very shortly after that, there was a post by one of our lovely Scottish ladies, Suzanne Steele, who put up a pencil. And I'm going to pass over to Catherine at this point. She put up a pencil that said hashtag so much more than talking about jobs. And it just made me smile. It made me laugh. It made me really think, God, this is really interesting, actually, because that's the door that's going to end up getting us talking, and also the public talking as well. And so that was on the night of Monday, the 16th of January. Catherine, over to you. What happened next?
Well, one of the things that does make me chuckle about this hashtag is that anybody that knows me well knows that I find it incredibly difficult to be succinct, and I will use 20 words when one will do. So the fact that I've managed to create a succinct hashtag that resonates with so many people is quite astounding. But yeah, so for me, in terms of where it all came from, sort of with a little bit of my background is how it all came about, I suppose, because my work within careers, something that I've always been so passionate about is offering holistic support to the young people. Particularly, I have done some adult work in the past, but it's mainly young people. And a big part for me is helping them to develop self-awareness and support them in a really holistic way, because it is so much more than talking about jobs. Yeah. And through my background of mentoring and working in specialist roles and mainstream roles and just a whole plethora of different things within the sort of careers world, I've supported young people with anything and everything. Yes, getting them into employment or work or training has always been the thread, but actually there's always been so much more than that. And for me, self-awareness is something I'm exceptionally passionate about, hence creating Emotional Strength, because I just think it's something that it's so important for anybody to understand themselves well. When we understand ourselves well, we can make really positive decisions, like in our careers. So when I was sharing posts about careers impact, for example, that I'd had on a student or a particularly positive experience, I started using that hashtag just as my own almost little celebration, but also to cheerlead the profession. I am so proud of being a careers advisor and so proud of our community. Although I've had different jobs in slightly different industries, I've never, ever worked with a community that is so passionate, so creative, so innovative, so dedicated to their work. And I just wanted to do my bit from within to cheerlead that. Because so many people I meet, whether it's family, friends, or just strangers, who just have this complete misunderstanding of what career guidance practitioners, career development practitioners, whatever you want to call us, it's that misunderstanding of what we do, that as if we just sit there telling people what jobs to do and talking about jobs all day, and it couldn't be further from the truth. So that's why I started using that hashtag. And then when Bella contacted me, it was just like the meeting of minds, and it was just fireworks went off on the 16th of January. having never spoken to each other before, it was just like magic. And it's just the two things came together, and it's been an amazing journey since.
Is anyone else fired up? Aren't you so happy that we've got these two fantastic ladies on International Women's Day, as Chris highlighted in the show, talking about a subject that I think so many of our viewers have strong opinions about? I mean, for me, Bella, listening to your and hearing your story, and Catherine, you too as well, there's so many aspects of what you're doing and how you've come into the sector and how you've developed as career professional has resonated with me. So viewers, is this resonating with you? Has there been something that's happened for you that sort of kind of resonated with you? Keep your comments coming, keep the conversation going. And talking of comments, I do want to come, and I have to say, as somebody who was super excited when Catherine developed her What Your Strength cards for the adult market, and I think, can I say I was probably one of the first ones to kind of
you were definitely one of the first for the adult pack.
I was like, Catherine, send me please, I need a copy, so I can start using with my clients as well. So yes, definitely. So what are some of the comments that are coming through? And there's quite a few, so I apologize if I don't get to all of them, but definitely there's lots of LinkedIn users and Facebook users saying hello and welcome. So you're definitely, both of you, getting a really warm welcome, and good to have you here as well. Okay, I've got a Facebook user here saying, hello Careers Crew, I'm actually here live with you. I hope everyone is well and groovy. I think
is that Chris Target? That sounds like
that's
Chris
language, isn't it? Yeah.
Bring on the Ashford Massive.
Yeah. See, Chris, you don't even tell us it's you, and we still figure out it's you. If it's somebody else, then we apologise right now, okay? And then I've got somebody here saying, Facebook user saying, yes, made a little poster.
That's Chris. Yeah.
Is that Chris? Okay, that went viral. Really felt like it was part of something nationally, globally, wink. As well, so so that's really good. And again, and perhaps maybe you're hearing about the campaign for the first time. Well, do not panic, you haven't missed out just yet, because I know Bella's going to be giving a little bit of a teaser later on in the show about what's coming up with the campaign as well. And then you've got Leanne Hamley here as well saying, I loved how these two wonderful professionals galvanised the whole community, that helped us to shout out about what we do across the globe. You know, we've got so inspiring to see the love for your work, Catherine. Thanks. Liz Reese. Thank you, Liz. Okay, and then we've got another Facebook user. It's great to focus on this. It helps when we career professional to refer to career as a series of events in life rather than a one job or occupation.
Yes.
Love the campaign, Bella and Catherine. So good to unite and advocate. Hello, everyone. Debbie Dimmock saying hello. She's also there as well. So, Catherine, another person
through the glass somewhere.
Is she? I know we've made Catherine, so for anyone that we haven't said, we've made Catherine go and find a broom cupboard so that she wasn't being distracted because she's live at the show. So if you're watching live, or if perhaps you've got intentions of heading out there later on today, make sure you go and find her. She's really warm and welcoming. And then we've got Amanda Fripp saying, watching in my lunch break, lovely to see you all. So Chris, let's dive in. I know we've got some questions, more questions for our guests. So what's the first question that we want to tackle with Bella and Catherine?
Yeah, I think we've kind of covered some of this already, so it's good to we could kind of fold in some of the other things we want to talk about today. I mean, great to kind of hear, I think, how the sort of campaign originated and how the two of you met. And I think, you know, you can see and hear from the comments that people are fired up. You know, people really enjoyed the campaign. If we've had maybe people who weren't involved on the 1st of Feb or kind of haven't come across it yet so far, tell us a little bit more, I guess, about what the kind of campaign looked like, what sort of some of that feedback's been so far, and then I guess, as Sabiha sort of alluded to, what's potentially kind of coming down the track next. So perhaps, Bella, we kind of start off with you, and then Catherine will bring you in afterwards, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. So the campaign started with me getting permission from Catherine to use her hashtag, because what I wanted to do was get our very first online CDP flash mob on LinkedIn, because I don't think anyone else has done it. And the reason I wanted to do that, or we wanted to do that, Catherine and I, is because we wanted to get a message across as quickly as we could to as many people as we could. And Catherine very generously opened up her online Rolodex and said, right, you need to speak to this person, this person, this person, this person, because of course I've had 14 years out. I don't know who anybody is. Catherine is extremely well connected, so she very generously gave me those names. I wrote to them all on Tuesday, the 17th of January, and by the next day, the 18th of January, LinkedIn was blowing up with all these messages going back and forth. And I wrote everybody a message and said, look, this is what I'm thinking of doing. I want to get a T-shirt. I want everybody to come together on the 1st of February because I want everybody to know who we are and invite questions about what we do. I don't know about anyone else. Has anyone else been mistaken for a recruiter before? Or an HR professional? Or something else that isn't related to what we actually do, because people, you know, it's a bit of an alchemy around careers, and I wanted to dispel that. I also wanted to get CDPs together of all stripes. I don't care where you work. I don't care if you work in schools. I don't care if you work in hospitals, in outplacement services, publicly funded services, non-profits, universities. I really don't mind. What matters to me and what matters to Catherine is that we all come together, because we need to see where we are and who we are, who each other is, before we can mobilize to try and really change things. Because things do need changing for sure. Terms and conditions, pay, all those things that matter to all of us. But we can't do that unless we know what our size and number is. And there is more that unites us than separates us. Advice and guidance is what unites us. And what happened with this campaign is that within 3 days, I think it was 4 days actually, we had over 1 million hits globally. It was absolutely phenomenal. We had CDPs coming from Australia to support us, Canada, Singapore, Netherlands, parts of Europe. It was incredible. And I'm so grateful. CDPs around the world, thank you so much for supporting us as we support you. And, you know, I think what we'd really like to see is this to be an annual event where it's not focused on the clients, it's actually focused on us, because we're the cheerleaders. We're really good at cheerleading for other people, but we need that cheerleading for ourselves. And that became very evident when I very first sent that message to everybody on the night of January the 18th, when everybody was immediately like, this is great, this is fantastic, let's get excited about this. Posters came out, artwork, people's dogs. Leanne, yep, we remember that. You know, it was incredible, the support we had, and thank you so much, because the cheerleading you do for your clients actually is what we need in our profession. We all need to come together. We all have a responsibility to do our bit, and that's why we said, look, even if you can't get a t-shirt, just like and follow and reshare, repost, because we need that circulation. It's still going on strong. People are still connecting. Last week was, for me, was Newfoundland and Labrador. They got excited about it. So it's still going. It's still doing the rounds, because LinkedIn is kind of snakes along, does LinkedIn. Nothing happens quickly. That's good for us as a profession. That's brilliant for us, because not only are we going to be infiltrating our own profession, we're going to be coming across other people's who have allied interests, for example, like human resources, and they have wield influence. We have much to learn from each other to that regard, I think.
Absolutely, and I was going to say, this is a very kind of apt time, I guess, to come over to you, Catherine, because of course you're wearing the t-shirt today proudly, but you are also at the National Careers Guidance Show doing a little bit of infiltration, not just of kind of careers professionals, but of course there are other speakers there as well. So
yes, I am here.
Tell us about what you've been up to today, and have you had the chance to talk to anybody about so much?
Oh, yes. I've hounded lots of people who I, normally see in a tiny little circle on my LinkedIn screen, and I've gone and, thrown my arms around lots of people. But yeah, loads of people here, which is lovely. I've been to a couple of talks so far. One about LMI and Unifrog. I've obviously been over to the CDI stand to say hello to everybody there. And yes, I've still got lots of stuff that I want to do this afternoon. But I suppose I just want to pick up on something that Bella was just saying in terms of what the campaign sort of really meant to us. And I think for me, there's three key words for me, and it's Bella's already inferred the first one, which is unity, and all of us coming together. Because I think, obviously I work mainly in schools, but I think I could probably say that most careers professionals, we work in quite a solitary way, where it can feel quite isolated at times. We're doing all this amazing work all over the place, all on our own. And this was a chance to come together as a united group. And that was what was so lovely, actually, is to see how united everybody actually feels, even though we're all, doing our separate things in different places. And then also was inclusion, in the same way that Bella already picked up on. Yes, we got t-shirts done, but the t-shirts didn't matter. It was the message that mattered. People had it written on bits of paper, whiteboards. It didn't matter. It was the message that was important. And lastly, as I've already said, it's that celebration. We are just such an incredible workforce, and it was just so lovely to see people stepping out of their quiet corners, people who maybe aren't necessarily the big loud ones like we are on LinkedIn, people who are just doing absolutely solid gold work but don't shout about it for whatever reason, and that's fine to not want to, but to see people who wouldn't normally own that space and say, I'm going to talk about what I do, and I'm going to be proud of what I do, and I'm going to dispel some myths. That was what was so lovely for me, is people proudly celebrating their own work in a way where there was no sense of, people are so scared to celebrate themselves because it's that, we're so modest, we don't want to show off. Actually, really, people comfortably saying, we do an awesome job and it's deserving of a celebration. So it was lovely to see.
Well, Catherine, speaking of celebrating and talking about what wonderful jobs we do as professionals and you ladies do as well, there's a Facebook user here who's just said, phenomenal achievement, you two. So I think you definitely hit that core message of what it was about, and that's together what we wanted to explore today with you both ladies today, was that sort of concept of togetherness and making sure that we focus on what we have that brings us together rather than what separates us. We've got a comment here from Arti Kumar MB. Hi Arti, great to have you here on the show. Hello everyone. Are you familiar with SOAR for employability? So much more than talking about jobs. SOAR to success. So anybody who's involved with that, I have to say I've not come across that, but keen to listen. And this is the great thing about the show is that, you know, even the viewers bring in something new and you're like, oh, what's all that about? And, you know, the curious George in me will go, oh, let's Google that later after the show. If you're anything like me, you know, we've got another Facebook user going, you know, we're a glorious professional of all places, all scopes, all non-judgmental and client focused. Couldn't agree more. The campaign was and still is a fantastic way for getting the word out there about CPDs. So many myths need to be dispelled. We've got Leanne joining in as well. Bella, great quote from Joe Cox. There is so much more that unites us than divides us. 100%. And I think if we can focus on that, we've got Erica here saying it's so much more than talking about jobs. Thank you for the passion. Awesome campaign. You ladies definitely have clearly sort of kind of lit a fire in people's bellies. And I can see that people want more. And I'll just sort of kind of bring in a few more comments and then we'll talk about what's coming up in the near future and the sort of kind of distant future. What we got here. I've got sometimes I feel like a bit of an anomaly as a CDP as I work in the NHS. So Bella, you touched upon this earlier, but my role includes engagement with CDP colleagues in schools and colleges, which I love. So like you said, you know, we all do. I mean, all three of us, none of us do the same role. We all do completely different. And that's just the four of us here in this sort of kind of show today. You know, in the profession alone, there must be huge amounts of people doing huge host of things. Sorry, that message got a response from clients I've worked with decades back from all over the world. Thank you for making that happen. So Curious George career advisor rock. Definitely we do. And so, talking about the future, Bella, let's talk about what's coming up for the campaign itself. If you can give us a little bit, I know that there's a lot of sort of kind of squirreling work that's going on behind the scenes, but if it's a little bit of a tease that you can give us and the viewers so that we can keep our eyes and ears open, but also as well professionally as well, what have you got coming up? And then Catherine, I'll come to you and then we'll sort of head on over to the news part of the show today.
Sure. Well, what I've noticed actually from this campaign is that different pockets of the world are really good with different things. So if you were going to ask me, you know, the Aussies have got it going on strong in terms of recognition. We've got a lot to learn from them in terms of how they've managed to do that. The Canadians are really good planners. So they're really good with things like standards and guidelines and rolling that right the way nationally across. Brilliant work. And we're really good at noise. Brits are noisy. Good, right? That's brilliant. That's what we need. And so from my standing for the campaign, I firmly believe our stories are our capital. And whether that's our stories about our clients, so in the case of #careers impact with the CDI, or whether that's our own stories about how we actually came into the profession. Because for me, recognition is everything. If we recognize ourselves, we can help other people recognize us and what we do. So that's where I would like to go forward.
Thank you for that, Catherine. Sorry, Bella. And Catherine, over to you. Final thoughts as we wrap up the show for today. What have you got coming up and what would you like to leave with the audience as a sort of kind of final core message?
For me, it's that this is just the beginning. Just keep this conversation going. Don't let it be a one-off event that was fun at the time. Just keep sharing these stories. You know, I would love for the 1st of February from this day onwards to be a celebration of CDPs. You know, if we can make that happen, fingers crossed. But, you know, everybody can play their part by just continuing to share these amazing stories. So just keep the conversation going is all I'd say.
Love it. Oh, thank you, ladies. Thank you so much.
Bella, you were paused to come in there.
I'm just going to bring in a final comment before we head on over, and and if you want to join me to thank Chris and I, we want to say thank you to Belle and Catherine for joining us today, and for your passion is for anyone, you can feel it off the screen, you can literally feel it, it's coming off the screen, and for anyone that's going to be meeting Catherine in the next few hours at the National Career Show, oh my God, you're going to have such a fun time.
Be prepared for a hug.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, there you go. We've got here, that's really interesting to hear what the different trends are globally. Love our stories, our capital. That's a cool phrase. Potential new hashtag, ladies. Well done. So
Watch
thank
this
you so much.
space.
Yeah, watch this space, as Bella said. Go on,
just a reminder as well, I was just going to say, for those, I know we've talked about it a lot, it's come up a lot, this hashtag, but if you've heard today's episode, you thought that really passed me by at the time, do go onto LinkedIn, as Bella suggests. Do look at the search function, so much more than talking about jobs hashtag. You will find all of the old posts. They're absolutely lovely to read through, so do have a look at that if you haven't seen them already.
Never too late to get involved. Keep going.
Keep going. Thank you, ladies. Also, thank you so much. So today's CDI news, what have I selected? What have I picked out and highlight? It's again, we're sort of kind of hitting that end of the show mark. So I'm going to run through these. By all means, head on over to the CDI main website so that you can get more information about all the stories that I'm going to be sharing with you today. So the first story that I picked out is get involved with your professional body. So if you are a CDI member, and if, by the way, you're watching the show today and you're thinking, the CDI, he keep talking about this organization, I don't know who they are and what they do, head on over to the website. There's details about how you can join a member. There's various different memberships that you can pay to join, and there's a whole host of support and training, and both free and pay, that you can access as a careers professional, regardless of where you are in your journey, whether you're just starting out or you are a seasoned professional. So what the CDI board and the EPSC are looking for, there's currently a number of vacancies available on the CDI board and the Ethics and Professional Standards Committee, and there are current openings for the Honorary Secretary, elected Board Director, Chair of the Ethics Professional Standards Committee, and they're also looking for committee members for that committee as well. So if you are interested in joining, head on over to the website and you'll be able to take part and support the strategic direction of the Institute of Careers Development Professionals. Now, nominations for all of the roles will close by 4 p.m. on Monday, the 20th of March. So you've got a bit of time to go in there and learn more about what that involves and decide whether or not that's something that's right for you and as part of your career professional development. Story number 2, I'm really happy and pleased to highlight that today is that the CDI Career Development Awards for 2023 booking is now available. So you can join CDI and the membership to recognise and celebrate the achievements of this year's award winners at the UK CDI Career Development Awards on Monday, the 26th of June at 6 p.m. till 11:45 at the Hilton East Midlands Airport in Derby. The event begins at 6 p.m. with a drinks reception. Tickets start from, I'm going to say £50, and for non-members it's £60. And if you are going to come to the award ceremony as well as going to the National Careers Leaders Conference in Derby as well, there is a £20 discount as well. So again, head on over to the website, check out all of that information and details of how you can book. And then finally, you might be wondering, well, Chris and Sabiha, how else can I get involved? What other things are happening beyond the the hashtag We Are Career show? Well, there are national, regional and other community meetings that take place on a regular basis, and this month is no different. The CDI community meetings are a great way to get local support from other CDI members. There's also the national and regional reps also provide member feedback, that you can ask and support and get a sense of, today the theme has been togetherness and the campaign. So how can you find that community? Well, I won't run through the list, but there's a whole list of events that are coming up from tonight. There's the South Central Regional meeting at the National Careers Guidance Show. So if you're there, 14th of March, Career Wales, CDI, there's a meeting coming up which is exploring helping clients overcome imposter syndrome, and tons more as well for the rest of March, April and May and June. So go check that out. And one thing that I will say as well is, if so, one of our future guests that's going to be coming on, that's going to be talking about the EDI chat session, and she and the team are going to be running a whole host of new sort of chat sessions around equality and diversity. So I'm going to leave it there for now. Chris, what have you chosen for your news stories this week?
Yeah, thanks, Sabiha. So yeah, just three very kind of quick ones, and a little bit again of kind of continuation of the theme of National Careers Week. So eagle-eyed careers professionals may have seen that the Careers and Enterprise Company and National Careers Week themselves have started an initiative to establish student career champions in schools. So this is something worth having a look at. I think they're looking kind of predominantly for the pilot northeast and northwest, although other members may correct me. So yeah, worth checking that out and seeing if you're a school in that area, whether you can get involved. What that might look like long term will be interesting to see. But certainly, kind of Catherine, I know, is a very vocal advocate of student voice, and hopefully this is kind of a positive move towards more of that. Second one, kind of coming up, something all careers professionals definitely need to be abreast of. There is a lot more detail available now about the lifelong loan entitlement. So this is the kind of the new sort of funding model the government's looking to bring in, which effectively works out as kind of 4 years worth of undergraduate funding that basically individuals will be able to use throughout their life to pay for undergraduate degrees, micro credentials, modular kind of elements of courses, all these different types of things. There's a full response now from the government to the initial consultation. Lots of detail in there, lots of great websites like Wonky kind of breaking that apart a little bit. There is some quite concerning stuff in there. It certainly is going to be a pretty thorny area, much more complex than the current student finance system. And there's going to be some things in there about which learners might be left out. So for example, remote learners, they're talking about not being able to access maintenance loans for that particular bit of funding at present. So there's a huge amount of detail in there that we can't go into now, but really do check that out. If you've not heard of the LLE, you've not looked into it in more detail, have a look at what's come out this week via BBC News or via the Wonky website. Lots of kind of great content in there, and something that's well worth us kind of keeping on top of. And then final sort of news story for this week, again, kind of coming back to the Careers Enterprise Company, bit of a link to National Careers Week. We've seen the future review of Careers Ed in England be released. So this is kind of taken from sort of 21-22 data. Some of it's from Compass, some of it's from the Future Skills questionnaire that students have completed. And again, it's going to be, I think, another one of those reports that kind of potentially might have an impact and influence on what the government hopefully kind of creates in terms of a new career strategy moving forward. But as always, I'm sure there'll be some really good challenge in there from careers professionals about how that data is being used and what that's representative of. So do check that out as well if you haven't seen it already. So that brings us really nicely to the end of the show. Do join us in a couple of weeks' time. We are going to have Dr. Deirdre Hughes with us. And she's going to be talking to us on Wednesday, the 22nd of March at 12 o'clock about the creatively titled Do Androids Dream of CEIAG. We are going to be talking about AI, chatbots, ChatGPT, and the place of tech in careers work. Valuable tool or potential threat. So that's kind of what we're going to be tackling on the next show. But until then, we hope you have a wonderful couple of weeks. And a final massive thank you to Bella and Catherine for joining us, for all of you who've kind of engaged, interacted with the show at home. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time. Take care.
Bye.